said, the time has come for us to dispassionate about this and call for a national conference on the future of our chieftaincy, so that we'll be able to know that aside all these things that we are here, if anybody, if a UK citizen walks into this room, it will be very difficult for that person to look at us and say this person is that. Maybe apart from maybe our height and complexion, the person will not be able to differentiate us. And yet we consistently try to show that we are different. But I believe that with the commitment that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has given and his vision, me being his rep at the Minister of Interior, together with the team that I'm going to join, will support that vision to ensure that peace, permanent peace, returns not only in Boku, but all the other areas that are having these challenges. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. The floor is now given to Honorable Peter Lanchini Tobu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Minister-Designate, congratulations.
Thank you, my brother.
I think I'll take this opportunity to thank His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for nominating you to this position. As one of my colleagues said, barring any last-minute change, nothing will stop you from becoming the next Minister of Interior.
Inshallah.
When you were taking your oath, I was observing you. You appear serious as a man of faith. When you find a political mentee asking his political mentor a question publicly, it might not necessarily be about me, but it's just all about the people who are watching us. You've mentored him in this house for 4 years. Mr. Minister-Designate, please, you had a relationship with the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs for many years in this house before I came. God has designed it. He is not the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. You are going as Minister for Interior. That relationship is necessary to ensure that John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, can reset Ghana in the area of chieftaincy dispute. How will this relationship, as I've defined it, be able to assist you? Bring peace to Boko, one. Bring peace to many of the places that we have curfews. All the curfews we have in this country, about 10, they are all chieftaincy related. So the two of you, you've been friends for years. It is for divine purpose. Take advantage of it, but tell the public, how will you leverage upon that relationship to build peace back? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, the local government minister-designate, because he's not yet been sworn in, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, had been my deputy for almost 9 years of the 10 years that I was in the chief whip office. We work very closely, and you've seen he and I campaign together, and you join us in Wenchi. So the jail is there. My prayer and hope is that the cordial relationship that existed between us, we are almost like a family, will translate it into better output for the benefit of the Ghanaian population by working very hard, collaborating with even other colleagues to ensure that not only in Boko do we have peace, but all over where there are these challenges. And like I said, because in the Constitution, Article 270, debar Parliament from even passing laws that has to do with chieftaincy, our hands seem to be tied. But what probably my colleague and I, if by the grace of God, we are able to sail through Parliament, will do is to collaborate effectively with the National House of Chiefs and Regional House of Chiefs so that they can fast-track the codification of the line of succession. Because if the line of succession is documented and all of us know that, oh, after Peter comes Aji Azuera, and after Aji Azuera, it can only be Aji Aladi, it makes it easy. It takes away the doubt where Muntaka will just come and run in between, probably because Muntaka has money, or he's coming from a bigger family, or he's coming from, for lack of a better word, a more vigorous family. So he and I work very closely to assist the National House of Chiefs fast-track this codification. And I'm sure when they're able to do that, it will go a long way to help us. And let me take this opportunity to thank Dasante Hene for the role that he's also playing. And we'll try to work very closely with him. Having been, Anasantini, that has helped in the Dogbon. He's been helping in so many other places. It is our hope he will continue to provide his wise counsel and make his services available in assisting the government to be able to fast track, to get peace in all these areas across our country. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I will give the floor to Honorable Ntim Fojo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Congratulations, Honorable Muntaka Mubarak,
Thank you,
on your
Reverend.
nomination to the well-deserved position. Given that you are a very respected member of this House, a sixth-term member of Parliament, and an experienced leader of the House, and appointed to the position of the Ministry of Interior, you will be expected, among other things, to provide advice to the President on very serious matters of security sector governance, including advice to the President on appointment or revocation of appointment of heads of various security agencies. Now, there are two schools of thought. One that possesses that in deepening security sector governance and promoting professionalism, it is important that even when presidential turnover occurs, at a time when heads of security agencies may have served their term midway or at the beginning of serving their term, it is important to maintain them to serve the full term in order to ensure that professionalism is strengthened and integrity of the security services are strengthened. On the other side, there is another school of thought which also possesses that in order to court political loyalty, when presidential turnover occurs, leadership will have to change heads of various security agencies and to revoke appointments of heads of agencies and appoint new ones deemed to be loyal to the succeeding government. Which of these school of thoughts do you belong to, and what do you promote in advising the President, considering the fact that countries or jurisdictions who have practiced the latter have eroded gains in their security sector governance integrity and have been on the path of declining security? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, my colleague and I have been in this house for some time, and I'm sure if he takes the hands that he will see my line of thought. I strongly believe that if we all put national interest first, and I mean well just as you mean well, why should I doubt your action? So why not allow continuity? But you also know, sometimes you come and meet a situation where, with a greater respect, I know I've met my team and the team that I'm hopefully going to join as a member, the heads of security, and I can see the competence. But in some instances, you come and meet people that are just round holes, what do you call it, squares in round holes, allowing that affect the national interest. Because they were not put based on national interest. They were put based on parochial interest. If you allow that to continue, then you are also not being fair to the national interest. So it will be very difficult to choose one side of your coin, because the exigencies and the time and the circumstances will determine which one you go for. Because frankly speaking, if all of us were very professional in the way everything gets done, why should you even be bothered about who you are coming to meet as your secretary in the office, or who you are coming to meet as the driver of the minister, if the person is so professional? You just sit and control because you are sure that the person has your back. But if the circumstances under which the person himself was given that position is questionable, and the actions and inactions of that person over the period, there are so many gaps, allowing that to continue will be injurious to the national interest. So it has to be dealt with case by case. But you cannot have this kind of one size fits all. If you have that one size fits all, I don't think it will be in the national interest. But just take each case and look at the merit and demerit of staying or leaving, and then act appropriately, and making sure that when you are also going to do that, be mindful that you are also doing that in the best national interest. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Just a short follow-up. Considering the experience, the extensive experience of the nominee being a leader of this House for a very long time, and his extensive interaction with the heads of the various security agencies incumbent, and during his interactions at briefing so far, out of the 10 heads of the various agencies that you'll be heading, do you find any incumbent to be possessing traits of being around a square peg put in a round hole?
Well, that would be, Chairman, that would be extremely difficult to tell. Because frankly speaking, from a distance, the way you may see an individual may be completely different from when you get closer. And then when you get all the facts. So it is when I get in, then you now have to get all the facts. When you are privy to all the facts, that's when you can be able to answer whether this person is best. Because also remember, the government has its vision and aspiration. And sometimes, if, for example, I am the type that will not be able to help His Excellency to achieve his vision and objective for this country, when the Ghanaians have trusted him, why should I stay? Because my attitude, my belief, my professionalism is contrary to the kind of vision and aspiration that he has. And he's the one who is being elected. Why should I be the one to say, not because I'm not good, but the match is just not there. So it is better to give way for somebody who can come and help him to achieve his objective. So once the facts are bare, I'm sure His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will not, he has stated it in our manifesto, and I want to believe that he means what he stated in our manifesto. He will mean well. He wants to leave legacy. Mine is to assist him in achieving this legacy. So we will not be acting based on favoritism, based on hearsay, based on what we want, but I want to believe that the advice, if it becomes necessary, that I will give His Excellency will be based on the best national interest, and I want to believe that he will also act in the best national interest. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My last
Thank you
question.
very much. Very well.
Ghana's democracy is one that is very enviable. We've gone through 5 turnovers very successfully. Even one others think that once you pass 2 turnover tests, your democracy has consolidated. However, one factor that is still inimical to the sterling democratic credentials we have is the rather unfortunate phenomenon, perennial across various transitions, of post-election violence. You have provided responses to certain specific aspects of this, but specifically, in an earlier response to a question that you gave, brilliantly and eloquently so provided, you indicated your preference for Commission of Inquiry in specific cases where you think that that would be appropriate, and even cited an incident of killings which you are aware, and when Commission of Inquiry was constituted, it fast-tracked investigations and prosecutions and served justice promptly. Considering the magnitude of the post-election violence that we have seen this year, would you support those calling for Commission of Inquiry into specific acts, the attack on the Anglo-Gold Ashanti or Boase mine, for instance, and certain specific killings that took place in some constituencies, to augment on the already investigations and prosecutions you had identified? Thank you. I wish you the very best. I have every confidence in your ability to support the president to succeed, and I know you yourself will succeed. Godspeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend.
Chair, I can assure my colleague that I have very good experts as a team that I'm going to join by the grace of God. All these things will be reviewed. But let me take this opportunity, Mr. Chair, to say, I've been around for some time. I remember very well, I was a member of the cabinet of the late President Morse, when after winning power, he insisted that we cannot continue doing this tit for tat forever. And all of us tagged him Father for All. I remember MMDCs even had to stay for about 6 months and all that. He sacrificed. I mean, he stood the ground. We pushed. That time, many of us were much younger with a lot of youthful exuberance. I remember in cabinet, I would say, when you do this, you yourself, in your house, they came and took cars when you were not around and harassed the second lady, President Rawlings. They did this, all that. I mean, emotionally, spoke around the cabinet table. Then he said that, look, you are young. If you don't learn to forgive, God will not forgive you. So let us push all this thing behind us. He did all that. Unfortunately for us, when power changed in 2017, we went back to the 2001 behavior. And it nullified the sacrifice President Mills made. I must admit, ask the police, the security experts, the post-election violence, all that we have seen. I condemn them. His Excellency General Muhammad condemned it. You remember he even called the then president to act. But believe me, they were nowhere near some of the things that happened in 2017. That is the way we need to be truthful to ourselves. That look, what is good for you is equally good for me. We should all be acting knowing that you mean well, I also mean well. It's just that this time you have been chosen over me and I'll be patient. The next time I may be chosen over you. But when we make it look as if that once I have been chosen, I have to show you where power lies. I have to stample on you and step on your neck so that you can feel the pain of loss. Then this thing will perpetuate. And my fear is that one day, it may get out of hand and all of us will regret. I don't think we need to wait to get there. That is why, again, I remember very well, the late chairman of the NDC, Dr. Kobuneje, I remember I was part of FEC then, when he said, look, we are in power. Let us show the good gesture first. Let us go to the NPP headquarters to visit them so that we, the political actors, will start talking so we can escalate the tension. I remember that time too, I remember very young. Chairman, you want us to go NPP when we are in power? Why? You want us to look like we are weak? When we have power, why can we be seen as if we are afraid of them? He refused as elderly statesman. We went. Visited the NPP at their party headquarters. Had time, chat, and interacted. And they promised they were going to return that visit. I don't know whether it is going to happen tomorrow. So when that didn't happen, then everybody was telling, Prof, Dr. Community, we told you. So let we, the political actors, I mean, I've been in this house long enough, and I don't say it with apology. Napo is my brother. We are like twins. We grew up together in the city, Kumasi. His father was like a father to me. My mother is like a mother to him. But he belongs to MPP. I'm in NDC. Since he became the MP for Menchia, before him, I came to Parliament before him. Before him, there was always conflict between Aswanse and Menchia. The constituents were always fighting violently. When he became an MP, and we kept that relationship, they will see him visit me. His constituents will see me visit him. Why would they fight? The fight stopped. And for almost 16 years, there had never been any conflict between Aswanse and Menchia South. So let us, we all sitting around this table, mean well, extend courtesies to each other, and think about each other in the good sense. When we do that, I'm sure most of these things will not be happening. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Alhaji Alhassan Omar.
Thank you. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you, Chairman. Assalamu alaikum. Leader Juma Mubarak. Ordinarily, I wouldn't have asked a question because when I entered this parliament 8 years ago, you were my mentor. I asked questions. I learned a lot from you. And I'm still proud of you. And I know you're going to do an excellent job. I know who you are. I know your principles. I want to ask you a question which disturbs almost every minority in this country. And it is an issue concerning police brutalities. Recently, the recent issue is even happened in the Ashanti region, Ejura. A suspect under police custody died without any explanation and causes, and several. Leader, I want you to tell us how you will address the issue of police brutality and ensure accountability. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Earlier, I believe, if you could remember, someone asked a question. I was talking about the body cameras. I also believe that the time has come for us to put CCTVs in all our police stations and cells. I have my phone, and I have more than 15 different CCTVs on almost all my property. And I can sit here and view and review. When something happens, I can go back and check. They are not that expensive. But what they do to help us in dealing with all this will be tremendous. I'm going to join a team, and I believe that the team, they are experts in their own right, will go to look at the possibility of emulating other good examples by making sure that in all our police stations, we have CCTV in the child office, in the cells, in all its environs. I know I've visited some police stations, especially at the divisional level and regional, and I see that they have CCTVs around. We need to be able to get this in every police station as much as possible. Because, I mean, there are places where mine is solar. They are just solar. So they don't rely on the lights to go on and go off. But they are not expensive. So these are ideas that when I join the team, I will share with the expert, and let's see the possibility of doing this. Because when we do this, then if someone dies, we all know, you are a Muslim like me. If my time is not up, I'm sure you can hurt me, I can get wounded, but I won't die. But even when I get hurt, we can be able to review. Did you beat me? Or maybe I slipped. Did I die naturally, or you killed me? All those things can be reviewed, and it takes away the suspicion. Because you see, the reason you see this and the violence that you see is mistrust. And sometimes because of the past credibility gap that we've had, where the police say, oh, we are investigating, nothing comes out of it, nobody hears anything. Even if they finish the investigation and maybe they've even probably punished the perpetrators, the public don't know. So when something happens, they become so suspicious and decide to take the laws into their hands. But if we have all these measures like these cameras that I'm saying, that can be reviewed and be shown to the world, oh, this is truly what happened. One, the policemen themselves will be careful about the abuses, and then we'll be able to also know the truth anytime something happens. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Leader. I wish you well, and congratulations.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you. May I give the floor to Honorable Jerry Shaib.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I'm more interested in the welfare issues of the security agencies. Because, I mean, the guns would normally say that onyochu, onyoye, to wit, who much is expected of, much is given. They do a lot of work, especially when they want to remain professional. The issues including insurance for security agencies or personnel. The issues including salaries. And where they even sleep, the attire, allowances, delayed payments in these allowances. Even petty loans for them to even acquire basic cars, 1.2, 1.3 engine vehicles for them to do some movement around. Honorable, from all your answers, you've indicated that you are the man of the people. How do you intend to bridge this gap, the gap of poverty within even the security agencies? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, you're speaking to the Pope when it comes to this. I mean, when I first became member of parliament in Aswansi, there was only one police station at the airport police station. I think Commander One is here. He was then, he became regional commander later, and together with him we built some more. And the shocking thing was that the barracks that they had in Aswansi that's the airport police station, they were using pan latrine. Pan latrine. That was around 2015 thereabout. And I said, how can you dehumanize the police this way? They are using pan latrine where they ease themselves. So I built a 20-seater WC for them through the initiative of Common for other things. But I know currently, especially the Ghana Police Service, they've been able to create a welfare fund that other citizens are helping and contributing to the extent that I'm told, even though I'm yet to get there to get the full facts, in the last 3-4 years, no police officer, no matter your ailment, the police themselves are able to deal with it without necessarily falling on GOG. It is something that I will encourage the other team, because I'm joining the team. So can we look at how we can emulate this with the other team? Can we get, yes, government to do more, but can we get also private individuals to support? Can people who God has endowed be able to support our security people so that they can support us? I mean, I always read widely, and I remember Carnegie, one of the richest guys in America, who says, I spent half of my life looking for money, and I spent the other half giving it out to charity. In this part of our world, we are not very good as charitable or giving. Like I mentioned, what Pentecost did in assisting the prison service. Let us all learn. Yes, we'll push GOG, government, to do this, but because of the enormous nature of the challenges, if I can get all the teams that I'm joining, the prison service, the narcotics, the small arms, gaming commission, all of them, to be able to have this kind of endowment where maybe annually we launch a program and citizens, non-governmental organizations, non-profit organizations can willingly donate because of supporting us security services. I'm sure it will go a long way to deal with most of the challenges that you're talking about. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Any further questions?
Mr. Chair, yes. Just a follow-up. Honorable Muntaka, so what happens to those who are also looking for retirement benefits? What have we put in place to streamline and expedite pension processing for retiring security personnel?
Well, Chair, thank you very much. I mean, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in the NDC manifesto, if you check, has said that he's going to ensure that the captivity is there and then review it and improve it. That I can assure you that we'll work very closely as his representative at the Minister of Interior to ensure that this is done. Because, like I said much earlier, without morale in the services, you can bring all the tankers, you can bring all the guns, you can bring all the accoutrement. The men to man it, if their morale is low, we'll have a challenge. So like I repeatedly said, we have a national security strategy. My bid is that the part that we have to do with internal security of our country will adhere to them very strongly. And a part of it is about their condition of service. So you can be rest assured that this is something that we'll take up very seriously. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
His Excellency President Mahama is currently driving a very beautiful V8. The procurement of that V8, whether or not it meets security standards, and whether or not, as Minister of Interior, you would agree that it is a presidential vehicle, that properly so called. I'm asking the nominee.
Yeah, Chair, until I don't have this fact. In fact, he's talking about four-wheel drive. I've seen so many four-wheel drive. All of us here drives four-wheel drives. If I sit here and I tell you that I know what type of four-wheel drive His Excellency the President is driving, I will be untruthful for you. But as his representative at the Minister of Interior, part of our responsibility, the team, as Minister of Interior is to make sure that the President is secured. I can assure you that when the opportunity comes, when this House, by the grace of God, approves of our nomination, when I join the team, these are things that we'll review, and definitely, if it doesn't meet the purpose, obviously we'll ensure that we'll humbly and respectfully advise the President. But remember, the President is not just a first-time President. He's been President before, and I want to believe he's very much aware of most of these things. But obviously, when we get there, we'll look at that, and if there's some advice that we can give His Excellency, why not? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Chair. Still on the welfare of the security agencies, and vis-a-vis how they are seen to be dealing with the public and public trust, what mechanisms are you going to put in place to ensure that the security agencies would have a lot of stakeholder engagement with the people so that trust is reposed in them?
Well, thank you very much. I must admit that I've seen videos and pictures of the top hierarchy of the police led by the IGP in our secondary schools, in some primary schools, in some junior high schools, interacting with community. It is something that we need to encourage, not only the Ghana Police Service. Because, for example, the Ghana National Fire Service even needs to even do more of that. But all of them sometimes hinges on resources. And this is something that I keep calling, that the non-governmental organization, non-profit organization, that can assist us as a team to be able to do more of this kind of engagement. Why not? We'll be happy, because that will help the citizen to get closer, to tell us what their perception is about us, and then we'll also know, then be able to have basis for correction and improving what the team will be doing. So I can assure you that we'll be encouraging more of that to be done, the interaction with the general community. I mean, and it's also in line with the vision of His Excellency General Mahama. When you look at our manifesto, when he says that our security architecture, we are going to review it to make sure that it is more community-based. Involvement of the community should be more. So we'll be looking at that, and like I keep repeating, these are experts in their own right. I mean, they've been in the services for long. They've seen it all. They've traveled across the world. We'll put our heads together to see how we can improve and get the communities to trust us more, so that we'll be able to improve what we are doing. Thank you, Chair.
The Chairman, that will be all for the witness. I wish you very well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll proceed to give the floor to Honorable Minority Leader and the ranking member of the committee, Alexander Afanyu Maki.
Good afternoon, Senior.
Good afternoon, Minority Leader.
How old are you now?
Well, based on the extrapolation that was done to be able to get me my date of birth, it says I should be about 54 now.
So, based on your date of birth on page 1 of your CV, which states you were born October 17th, 1971, you are 54 now.
I should be heading towards 54.
Very well. So you are 53 now.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Senior, in 2009, how old were you? 2009 February, how old were you?
Probably around 37.
So you would agree with me that you had not reached that prime age of 40. As they say, life begins at 40, correct?
Yeah, obviously.
Now, a lot of Ghanaian youth are watching you now. First, share with us useful public life lessons you learned between that age of 37 when you came into public life and now that you are 53 back again into mainstream public life. And for the avoidance of doubt, the public life phrase as I've used now means getting into the executive arm of government. So I'm defining my public life to mean the executive arm of government.
Well, thank you very much, Minority Leader. You are perfectly right. I mean, I want to believe that even when you yourself came to this house some 12, 13 years ago, you admit that I think I was then the majority whip. I was more aggressive than today over the period. Well, as you age, you learn from your mistakes, you learn from the mistakes of others, you read more widely, you experience so many other things. So you learn so much. And the tendency for you to think and review and probably even share with others before you act is much better when you are older than when you are younger. Also, let me also say that in 2009, I had just finished my first term, I started my second term, and frankly speaking, I had never worked with even any government sector. I mean, I was the type, when I completed school, never wanted to work for anybody. I wanted to work for myself. So the closest I did was to work in the private sector. And you know, in the private sector, the attitude, the way of doing things are completely different from the public sector, where in the public sector, age is matter, seniority matter, all those things matter, and what have you and what have you. And the buck sometimes does not necessarily end with you. I mean, you could be the minister, but the buck may not necessarily end with you. Today, I have been in the system for long. I've learned, I mean, you will admit, I've been even in Pan-African Parliament alone. I've been there for over a decade, traveled across the world, at the continent. You see so much. That makes you act differently from when you were much younger, that you didn't have the kind of experience that you have when you are in your 50s. So definitely there's a huge difference between my good self. I can tell myself that sometimes my children wonder and say, why are you tolerating this from this constraints? I said, don't worry, the person is young. When he grows, he will understand. So yes, I've learned so much.
You were 37 when you entered into the executive arm of government.
Yes, Honorable Minority Leader.
You had some issues with the civil service structure, and you are on record to have said that the chief directors cannot be trusted.
Obviously, that was then. It's part of what I'm saying.
No, I gave you the opportunity to do a general overview.
Yes.
To advise the youth so that they pick something from this. Now I'm delving into the specifics.
That's okay, sir.
Right. Some of the public utterances against the conduct of the chief directors. And you know, you have done a perfect explanation of your background, that you were coming from the private sector and you saw things differently. So it made you say certain things. Today, going back in there, confronted with similar attitude by the civil service, and bear in mind, no doubt, you are going to meet a bureaucracy of permanent government workers who can give you tough time. What would be your posture?
Well, Mr. Chair, I think since I sat here, I've consistently said that I'm joining a team. I want to believe that probably in 2009, I went in thinking that I was the king. Today, I believe that I'm only joining a team. And I've drummed it again and again since morning, that if I have to succeed, it is because this crop of expertise will have to come on board and let us work as a team. If we have to fail, we'll fail together as a team. My attitude is completely different. I'm, by the grace of God and with all humility, as you know, now I even teach leadership in UPSA. I teach master class in leadership. Obviously, you cannot be an effective leader if you think you know it all, or you see people as this, it is you and me. But if you see leadership as playing part of the relay to get us finish a race and making everybody feel belonging and everybody's view matter and everybody feels important, even the slowest, tortoise will want to speed up to get us finish the race. So that will be the attitude that I'll be going in there, that look, we have to do this together, and I respect your expertise. What do you say? I have to be more listening than doing all the talking. I don't have to act until I'm very sure that all of us, or at least majority of us in the team, believe that that is the best way to act. So it's no longer about me as an individual, it should be about us. I think that will be the attitude that I'll be going in there with. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Leader, you have used a word king, and you juxtapose it against your yesterday. Muntaka at 37 thought that leadership meant he being a king. Muntaka at 53 believes that leadership to him is being part of a team. In a recent interview with a Joy FM journalist, you had cause to critique the leadership of the Speaker of the 8th Parliament of Ghana. Do you still hold firm those views as contained in those criticisms of the 8th Parliament Speaker?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me clarify this. I did not criticize the Speaker. I criticized his style. And I believe that for a style, people have their varying views. I respect him. He's mentored me. We agree more on so many other things, but we have areas where we disagree. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable nominee, so I'll give you a bit of a background by way of laying foundation. Then I will mount my question on it. Okay? You recall Donald Rumsfeld, a former Defense Secretary of the United States of America?
During George Bush Sr.
Very well. Some journalists were pestering him on some very important matters of state. They pushed him over and over again. I'll try to paraphrase what he said. That there are known unknowns and there are known unknowns and there are unknown knowns. Keep that in mind. Foundation 2. Some of your colleagues who I interacted with upon your nomination expressed joy upon the announcement because they say you are very hardworking. But we're quick to also say that when your back is against the wall, you can spill. Let me ask you, are you ready to enter your casket with some debts on you, even when you are innocent, to save the nation?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would say that you are asking the Pope. I'll just give one example to reiterate this. I believe, Minority Leader, you knew how we elected Mr. Speaker into office. Everybody in this country had done everything humanly possible. I believe even including the security agencies to know which of your guys supported us, and they don't know. Because
but we know.
You don't know. It's not true.
We know.
You don't. You don't.
We know. Don't
I'm
go
sorry.
there.
I'm
Honorable
sorry.
nominee.
I'm sorry.
Don't go there,
I'm sorry. Answering question. You ask a question. I hope you let me answer.
Well, but because
yes.
you've introduced
yes,
that,
because I'm saying that
we know.
You don't. You don't. You can only guess. You cannot say you know.
But do you know?
I worked with people, and I vowed and told them that not even my wife will know this. I will die with it, and I meant it, and I will die with it. I'm telling you that I'm going to this ministry that is security zone, an area where you talk less, you act more. I can assure you that even, I'm sure, Honorable Minority Leader, you and I, in the last few years that will be in this house, not even few,
you are
over a decade.
You are inadvertently spilling.
No, I'm not spilling. I'm saying that over the period.
You are inadvertently spilling.
No, Mr. Minority Leader. I'm saying that over the period that you and I have been in this house, you can attest to the fact that there have been so many things between us that no third person has ever known. And I can assure you that no third person will ever know. Because you can trust me that when I say I am doing this with my honor, I meant I'm doing it on my honor. But obviously, like you rightly said, when you push someone to the wall, it is said in the account, when you chase a coward to the wall, you see his braveness. Yes, all of us have our values, we have our principles. It gets to a point where if your core values are going to be compromised, you rather prefer to walk away. That is a natural thing. But I can assure you that when it comes to, as people say, spilling the beans, I'll be the last anybody can doubt whether I keep confidentiality. I can be angry and be talking about it, but the details and specifics of things, you can never hear it from me. Yes, I'm human. I'm not an angel. I can have my weakness and strength. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable nominee. Let's go back to your CV. Your residential address is provided thus: B60 Simpson Road, Boteman.
Yes, Minority Leader. Yes, Chairman.
Boteman, that area where you live, you acquired your lease from government.
Yes.
So it was estate land that you rightfully bought.
Yes.
And you have a lease covering it between you and government of Ghana through acting through the Lands Commission.
Yes.
As your leaseor and you being a leasee.
Yes.
You also agree with me that you bought that land because that area was demarcated as a residential area.
Yes.
And that you bought it with equal right as any other person, be it a Ghanaian or a foreigner, with the ability to pay.
Rightly so.
How would you feel if any Ghanaian suggests to you that by mere fact that that is a government land, you have taken advantage to acquire, that therefore you are corrupt?
Well, Mr. Chair, what I will say is that I know the whole of East Legon was for the state. There are private people living there, people who had worked in government before, and others. Airport Residential was all state land. People acquired them legitimately and are living there. I don't see anything wrong if it is done legitimately and rightly. And I've heard my colleague, the Attorney General, in answering question. If the Land Commission says they advertise, they say they are giving out this piece based on this procedure that is legitimate and you acquire, how can anybody say because of that you are corrupt? But obviously, as you may know, Chair, people have their own perceptions about things. I remember in 2013, in 2009-10, when the late Obutu Bilante bought the residence that he was in, and then people said morally it was wrong because if you were a minister and you were given a home, how do you end up buying it? And it went up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said that it was legitimately done. So far as I'm concerned, if you buy something legitimately and others are saying that, oh, because of this, let them challenge it in a lawful manner and let it be tested. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable nominee. What do you say to some of our compatriots who hold the view that property acquisition is a crime?
Well, everybody has his view about things. I mean, with the greater respect, you may like to take alcohol. I don't. Maybe because my religion forbids. You may like to take pork. My religion forbids me, and I accept and I don't take. You have chosen to have only one wife because your religion will not allow you to go more than one wife. My religion allows me to go up to 4, and I have 2. I mean, so everybody has his view about things. And once someone holds his view about things, and as you know, it's not challenged in a legal court to test that you are doing something illegal. I don't bother myself about that. And you know me in this house that many of you say that I have a thick skin because I don't really bother much about what you are thinking. I rather focus on what I believe is the right thing, and I try to do the best that I can and improve the Muntaka yesterday, the Muntaka of today to be better than the Muntaka of yesterday. That's my focus, but not what people go about saying. Thank you, Chair.
Back to your CV, page 1. Languages spoken and written. Hausa, Twi, Dagbani, and English. I know that some of your Dagomba friends taught you how to speak Dagbani. I don't know whether they taught you how to write Dagbani as well. Oh, I know.
No, Chair is right. I mean, we've had a lot of conversation, so he knows a lot more about me. Yes, I can say, Mr. Chair, permit me to amend this to cancel the unwritten. Because obviously, even the Hausa, I cannot write very well in Hausa. The only one that I can write very well is English. Even Twi, I can't write well, so it's an error or it's a mistake. So if permit me, I will amend it by just saying that languages spoken. Thank you.
Please, permission granted.
Honorable nominee, in Ghana, when a person says, my hometown, in the ordinary meaning of it, what would a person be referring to? To what would lead a person to say Winneba is his or her hometown?
Well, my understanding of hometown is where you are born or where your parents are born or where your parents hail from or your grandfather hail from. So it's just too unfortunate that in our country, our belief is that make reference to only where your grandfather counts. But I think it's absolutely wrong. Because if we are going to do that, then all of us will leave this country. We will all not be Ghanaians. Because everybody came from somewhere, that moved to somewhere and somewhere and somewhere. So me, my hometown is Kumasi. That's where I was born and bred. That is where I have lived. I have siblings who do not even know Techima, not alone to get to Tamale. Yes, I'm a Southerner with a northern background, and I'm proud of it. I attended Tamale Secondary School. I get to know the families. I visited Kumbongo, where my grandfather hails from, and I'm happy to be a Dogomba, but I was born and bred in Kumasi, and I use Kumasi as my hometown, and I'm very proud of it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Share with us a bit of your northern background.
Well, my grandfather, I'm told, my great-grandfather, I'm told, hailed from Kumbung. My grandfather was born around Kumbung, grew up in Kumbung, moved in trading through Salaga and landed in Kumasi through the challenges that you know that is between the north and the south. So my grandfather died in Kumasi. His grave was buried in Kumasi. My father grew up in Kumasi, also died in Kumasi. My mother, born in Tamale and moved to Kumasi, I'm told, when she was just about 2 years. and I've since been in Kumasi to today. I born and bred in Kumasi. My father has 41 of us. I'm number 14, and all of us born, I think with the exception of 2 that my father said they were born in Salaga. All the others, 39 of us, born and bred in Kumasi. And it is Kumasi that all of us have ever known. Our assets, our larger family. Yes, we have the extended family, we visit and we are proud of them. Some are in Salaga, some of my sisters married, have taken them to Salaga. Some of my sisters are in Tamale. Mubarak is my direct nephew. His mother is my direct sister. She's my father's fifth born, but she married, took her back to Tamale. Some of my siblings are in Germany, some are in London, who are now British. Some are in America, who are now Americans. So I am born and bred in Kumasi, and I'm proud of that, and I see Kumasi as my hometown, and I will remain proud of being a Kumarican. Yes, and then my cousin is Amin Anta. Until the funeral came, when his mommy died, and I went, then that's what the father said, what are you doing here? I said, I came to my friends. They said, no, he's not your friend. And they started telling the relation. Then I looked at him and I see one of my uncles. I said, they have some resemblance. I said, oh, you see, we have an imam in Asante, the late regional imam. He's late now. He has a slogan that he uses very fluently every time he preaches, just to remind us about the peace. He said, look, everybody is in everybody's home. So be careful about what you do to each other, because by the time you realize you are related in one way or the other. So it's a very common slogan in our community, Zongo in Kumasi, Kuwa Nigerian Kuwa. To which means everybody is in everybody's home. So be careful what you do to people, because at least you wake up and realize that, oh, not knowing that the one that you are hating is your direct brother or cousin or nephew or niece. Thank you, Chair.
So, in other words, you are telling me that should I take a secret ballot on you, my respected colleague, Dr. Amin Ada, is likely to defy my orders and vote for you because you are indeed his blood brother.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think my...
It is not for you to answer.
Okay, thank you.
Honorable members, Honorable Amin Adam is not even a member of this committee, so he doesn't even have a vote to cast.
Honorable nominee, you have indicated to us truthfully and in all sincerity that you've acquired the government land, you acquired it rightfully, and to the extent that you acquired it rightfully and you have your lease, there's nothing wrong with it. May I know from you, still being honest with us, do you know some of your party members in leadership of your party who have acquired government lands in Cantonment, Roman Ridge, Airport Residential Area? Do you know, perchance?
Mr. Chairman, frankly speaking, I don't go about asking people about their assets and listen, frankly speaking. So if I visit, say, the chair of the committee who, we've been in this house and worked together on so many things, and I say, oh, you have a nice house. How am I going to be asking, oh, how did you acquire this land?
That's
when
okay.
Did you start
I think no.
So I just don't know. I don't know. Frankly speaking, I don't.
That's okay. Fair answer. Somebody may not like you, but your sincerity would always precede you. And I put that out for public consumption with the little interaction I've had with you. Now, do you have some of your party members who live in the Roman Ridge area, Ridge, Cantonment, Airport Residential Area, since you visit them, some of your party leaders, colleagues in Parliament, colleague NDC members outside of Parliament, do you have some of them living in these areas? I don't want you to mention names, but do you have some of them living in these areas?
Frankly speaking, Mr. Chair, I've been scanning my mind to see who did I know. The only person that I used to visit and play tennis with, he was then the minister, Honorable Mama Yaga, when he was around the Roman Ridge. And since we lost power, he left there. I don't know, but I knew that probably he was there because he was a government official or minister, because I could see then Honorable Kumbo was next to him. So we go and play tennis together and do a lot of things together. In Roman Ridge, in Cantonment.
Okay, let's deal Cantonment specifically, currently.
Frankly speaking, I'm scanning my mind to see whether I've visited any of my colleagues in these two areas. On my honor, no. I can't recollect now whether I've visited anybody in that area. Unless if you see me around any of this area with somebody, you can ask whether, when I visited, I asked him whether he owns a house or the land. Maybe
I've moved away from ownership. Honorable Leader, I intend to be very brief.
Thank you.
But your question, you know, we are ordinarily entitled to follow-ups. So if you are brief, I'll be brief.
Okay. I think that's a good, what do you call it, sign you've given me. I'll try to be very
And
brief.
as you may be aware, your vetting today comes under a special dispensation.
I have no doubt about that, and I'm
For
grateful.
the very security reasons, and it's in the public interest that we take you today for the sake of our country. And as my respected colleague Kennedy Japan and Napo normally say, this is about systems and policies, not NDC MPP. So we are doing this for the country and nothing MPP NDC. I'm just limiting it to
and we are grateful.
Critical issues.
Sincerely grateful.
How close are you with Honorable Harun Idrisu?
I would say very close.
Do you visit him in his house? Sometimes?
Yes. Around Bank Hospital. Yes.
That's Cantonment.
Yes, I've visited him before. Sorry. Yes. That's why I said I was scanning my mind to see.
So
yes.
you know he lives at Cantonment?
Yes, I know.
Very well. That's okay. Now let's deal with the time you left the majority front bench. You recall that Mr. Speaker said this to you. I want to quote Mr. Speaker on the floor. He told you that when one door closes, many more are open. Do you recall this?
Yes, I do.
How good do you feel being an interior minister today, having this statement of Speaker on the floor of the House in mind, especially when those were your very low moments?
Well, let me admit, even apart from what he said on the floor, I'm grateful to Mr. Speaker because we met in his chamber and he repeated same and advised me, you are a member of the Pan-African Parliament. Look well.
You know you are going to the mosque.
Yes. So when he said that in Pan-African Parliament, not long before I became the chair of the Committee on Monetary and Finance, and that has opened so many other opportunities to the extent that if you admit, most of the time, I'm not seen on the floor because I was so busy with that. So yes, once that door closed, so many others open. And I'm grateful for that.
Including this one?
Yes.
Including this one?
Yes.
Okay. Were you expecting this? Yes, no.
Well, I am the one I'm type who live by the day and put my trust in my maker. So I don't wake up expecting things. I just say the will of Allah be.
In 2020, You made your 6-year-old daughter vote, correct?
Yes.
Do you regret doing that openly?
No. I mean, my belief, Mr. Chair, was that this was, I mean, I'm very fan of Khadija. She insisted she wanted to be here today. I said no, she should go to school. Very fan of her. I mean, you have 20 children, but sometimes you'll be very fan of one. She said, Daddy, can I see how voting is done? So I said, oh, don't worry, when we get there, I will. So I pulled her by my side to vote. Yes, I must admit, the votes are supposed to be secret.
So in other words, you
didn't
didn't consider the legality or otherwise of your action.
That's the thing.
You did it out of love and passion for
Yes,
daughter.
knowing that her seeing it and even using her hand to do it doesn't really mean anything to her apart from just having the feel that, oh, I now know what they do.
I am letting you know that it was wrong in law.
Yes. Later, when it came up, I said, oh, yeah, it's true, because one is supposed to be secret.
You get the opportunity to apologize to Ghanaians?
I did.
Very well. Honorable Muntaka, in 2009, when you were a young person in government, you encountered some controversies. Which controversies ended up as charge, and you were cleared. This committee will be happy to have the report of Shrine. That is, if you procure the copy for yourself. I say so because as public servants of the political class, our being there is driven by perception. It is therefore important that when a litigation has come to an end, we let the same public know the status of it. If you don't mind, and if you have it, would you want to share that report that cleared you of any wrongdoing?
Mr. Chair, because I relocated from Ashabotre to my new place, I moved, you know how we receive documents in Parliament. I moved most of the documents to the library in my community. In fact, they are still in sacks. I'll make effort to see if I can get it. I'll let you have it.
Fair enough. My very last question, so you can go to the mosque. You've assured the country today that you are a moderate politician, correct?
Yes.
You've also assured the nation today that your tenure will not tolerate partisan violence, correct?
Yes.
You are also telling Ghanaians that you don't subscribe to all the post-election violence we are having in the country, correct?
I condemn it, yes.
You also assure the nation, particularly the investor community, that you will do all you can to protect their investment in Ghana.
Yes.
You also verily assure all Ghanaians, especially your political adversaries, to be specific, the MPP members who are in opposition, that your office will not tolerate political vendetta.
Yes.
On oath, you have said that you will lead your ministry to introduce reforms at our various security agencies. You still committed to that,
yes,
which you said on oath?
Yes.
Now, to end it all, you have praised the security agencies, particularly the police. And let me say that the Inspector General of Police Dr. Akufo-Dampare, many may have their own views about him, but I am one person who respects him, admire him, and believe that if we have his type consistently manning our police service, Ghana will be a better place. There may be some disagreement about his style, but I personally believe that what he has done for the nation in terms of security is one that we must all celebrate. What would be your own advice to anybody who would suggest that because he was an appointee of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and he's not 60 yet, an energetic, competent IGP should be removed by virtue of changing power? What would be your advice?
Well, I can assure you that when, by the grace of God, this House approves of my nomination and I join the team, definitely there will be assessment of all the team members. You know, His Excellency President Mahama has a vision and objective for which Ghanaians have voted for him. All that will be reviewed in line. And those that, in the views of His Excellency President Mahama, will be helpful in assisting him to achieve their objective, you can be rest assured, especially in the national interest, I will support it. But I will not be able to deal with specific individuals to give assurance that, oh, for this person, he will go. For this person, he will stay. In fact, me, myself, I do not have that power. Even as Minister for Interior, I do not have that power. I can only make a recommendation about one individual or the other to His Excellency the President. And that decision is that of the President, which all of us are serving at his mercy. So I will not be able to give any definite answer, but I can assure you, I believe, since I was nominated, interacting with them, I can see that they are breaking their back to keep us safe. They need to be encouraged. We need to support the system so that the system will continue to improve and be able to protect all of us. That's assurance you can get from me. But as to who will go, who will stay, I do not have that power. The best or the worst I can do is to recommend to His Excellency, and that is for him. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, indulge me. I've sought the leave of my respected chairman to do this one more exercise, and bear with me. You know how this our enterprise is. I take you back to 2016. In 2016, November, December, thereabout, President Mohammed's government granted some approvals for what they call clearance. We hear clearance for some public institutions to recruit. I was zoning on the security services, particularly police, immigration, fire, and prisons. This recruitment began around November and into December, after even the elections. These young men and women entered the training schools even whilst we were celebrating. And in March of 2017, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo went to Fosu, the immigration training school there, and officiated the passing out ceremony of those recruitments that took place in December. I want to ask you, there is general apprehension in town. There were Ghanaians who were recruited and are training. If you go to police training school at Tesano, there are Ghanaians, male, female, training. If you go to Fosu, if you go to Tafo, immigration, there are Ghanaian youth training, fire, training schools, all over. They are training. In fact, since I became a member of parliament in 2013, I have benefited from ministers of interior coming to support MPs that bring your constituent to allow balance. When I was in opposition, when you were in opposition, they gave you some. All MPs, they pass it through our leaders. So, on authority, I know that those Ghanaian youths who are training are not MPP so-called, but they are Ghanaians who, they are MPs. I'll go there, please. Honorable, can I finish my question respectfully? No, can I finish my question respectfully? The chairman controls this meeting.
Order.
All right? I speak facts.
Please, order. Honourable member, proceed to
Very well.
ask your question.
Be tolerant. You are a friend of this committee. I'm not going to mention names, but if you want me to mention names, I can, because we are dealing with national issues here. Please. From 2017 all the way to 2024, when elections were being held, NDC MPs got protocols for recruitment. MPP MPs got protocols for recruitment. Some, that's correct. That's a good qualifier. Some, that's correct. Ghanaian youth who bought forms had the opportunity. Would you ensure that Ghanaians who are currently in training will conduct their training peacefully, and upon completing their training, you as minister or anybody authorized by you will officiate their passing out ceremony? Honorable nominee, please, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think facts are always available to check. What I have said and I'm repeating is that I, Muntaka Mubarak, I will act in the best national interest. That's I will say on this. I will act in the best national interest. That's all I will say.
Honorable nominee, thank you very much. I wish you all the best. You will hear from us. And that's a very mature response. And I think I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, honorable members. May I humbly,
Chairman.
may I humbly,
Chairman,
Honorable
with all due
Roxanne
respect.
Dapamoko, Honorable Roxanne Dapamoko,
Chairman,
you don't
with all
have the
due
floor.
respect.
You do
Chairman.
not have the floor. I do
Chairman.
not intend to engage in this
Chairman.
with you.
Chairman.
Honorable Roxanne
ranking
Dapamoko,
member-
I least expected you
Chairman.
to do this. You do not
Chairman,
have the
I
floor.
sought your permission.
Wait for me to give you the floor. Honorable members, I recognize
Chairman, with all due
the
respect,
presence.
the ranking member has just said that between 2017 and 2024, every NDC member got protocol. I never got. We told please.
Honorable members.
He said every NDC member of parliament. So please.
Honorable members,
Please.
Honorable Roxanne,
Please.
take it easy.
I never
Honorable
got
Roxanne,
anybody.
Honorable Roxanne Dapamoko, take it easy. He qualified it by saying some. I've been a member of parliament for a long time, and I know as a member of parliament, our constituents will come to us with enlistment form, and we beg on behalf of our constituents to be enlisted. When you go to beg and you happen to get it, fine. If you don't happen to get it, fine. But I don't have a situation where they will say that automatically, as a member of parliament, you are entitled to bring this number of people to be enlisted into the police service. So with all due respect, let's handle this with some utmost distance. So honorable members, I recognize the presence of Honorable Matthew Opoku Prempre, former member of parliament for Menchia, and vice presidential candidate for the New Patriotic Party in the just ended presidential election. Honorable members, with this, I proceed to recognize the guests seated behind the nominee who are here to give him moral support. First on my list is Hajia Zinab Ahmed, a spouse of the nominee. I recognize you with your children. Alhaji Muntala Shuabu, father of the nominee. I also recognize Augustus Andrews Nana Akwesi, Ashanti Regional Chairman, NDC. I recognize Alhaji Mohammed Abdul Wahab, Kotokoli Imam, Ashanti Region. COP retired, Kofi Buachi, Director of Operation at the Presidency. Chief Alhaji Ahmed Ibrahim, Wangara Chief, Ashanti Region. Sheikh Abdul Razak Abdullah, Deputy Regional Imam of Alusuna, Ashanti. Alusuna. Very well. I also recognize Nana Kofinti, representative of Asokore Mampong, Hini. I recognize Chairman Mustafa Ayariga, Vice Chairman Asawasi Constituency. Chief Alhaji Abdul Salam Akate, Kuro Balugambani, Sapara II. Alhaji Yaya Umar Muhammad Mahmoud, Imam of Bolga. Alhaji Fuseni Abu Dagomba Chief, Ashanti. Nana Ya Jentua, Office of the Presidency. And Lawyer Chum Barema, Secretary to the Transitional Team on Interior. You are all welcome. Honorable members, I have the pleasure to congratulate the nominee and to say that we've been here on time. Questions were posed to you, very composed, intelligent manner. You provided the answers to the questions. Once again, congratulations. You will surely hear from the committee, and you are hereby discharged.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm grateful.
And welcome back to Channel 1 TV. Just gone by is a vetting of the Minister for the Interior-Designate and Member of Parliament for Asawase, Honorable Muntaka Mubarak. Such a rigorous process. Joining me in studio for a discussion on the vetting process as it ensued is my colleague Sami Yafe, here with us at Channel 1 TV and CTFM. Sami, good afternoon, welcome.
Yeah, hi.
You've sat through the entire vetting, a rigorous one it was, but to be expected because of the kind of ministry he's going to handle and the type of agencies under it. Let's begin from what you were satisfied with and perhaps maybe what you were not satisfied with in all the answers that were given so far.
Well, it appears that he has a glimpse of what it entails, to be an interior minister. The challenges within that sector and the proposals he's putting across to deal with these challenges that confront the ministry, which is the Ministry of Interior. I've always said that the Ministry of Interior or the Minister of Interior is the head of internal security because there are about 10 agencies under that particular ministry which are all security related. So we're talking about the immigration, first of all, the Ghana Police Service, the Immigration Prison Service, Narcotics Control Board, quite a number of them. So
for the benefit of our viewers, let me just list them so that it will help our conversation. So we have the Ghana Police Service, we have the Ghana Prison Service, we have the Fire Service, the Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana Immigration Service, the Narcotic Control Commission, we have the National Disaster Management Organization, NATMO. We also have the Gaming Commission. That was a surprise for me. We have the Small Arms Commission. We also have the Peace Council. And then finally, we have the Ghana Refugee Board, all under the Ministry of the Interior.
So it tells you how broad, the ministry to have all these 10 active agencies, very active agencies under the Interior Ministry. So he appears to be someone who understands the operations within that particular ministry. And the questions from committee members, were spot on, were excellent, questions because they understand the enormous nature of that ministry, and if anything goes wrong in that ministry, it affects the peace and the security of this country. And I'm excited that his appointment comes at a time where we are having a number of security challenges across the country or many parts of the country. There's chieftaincy disputes, many parts of the country, and there's the raging Boko crisis, and which a question was asked on how he would deal with, local authorities to deal with this issue. There's also issues of, post-election pockets of violence here and there, disagreements to the extent that some constituencies, or I think a constituency is yet to be declared, by the Electoral Commission, and the tension in the country, after election. So he's coming to face a number of challenges after the election and the swearing of President Mahama. But experienced as he is, because this is not the first time he's serving as a minister.
Exactly.
Under the late President John Mills, I think he served as a minister for youth and sports. That was when there was a scandal about him. But if you're a politician, you don't have a scandal about you, then you're not a real politician.
That was dealt with, I think.
Yeah, it was dealt with.
Yes.
If you're a politician in Ghana, you don't have any scandal to your name, then you are not a proper politician.
Are you sure?
I've always said that. You're not a proper politician. So, that one also came up. But let's look at his responses to some of the key issues, that came up. For instance, the prison service and the need to decongest the prison. Every government, successive governments have made, several attempts to decongest the country's prisons. But I've always said that the decongestion, can only be done in collaboration with the judiciary and the Attorney General's department, or the entire justice system.
In what sense?
In what sense? Because we live in a country where people go and steal fowl, tubers of yam, fingers of plantain, and they are put in prison remand. Not for 1 month, 2 months, sometimes 6 or more, even a year. Sometimes people are arrested in a scoop. Police do a scoop, but then some few people, are arrested because they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. They are arrested in connection with the alleged criminals, and they are all kept in remand for a long while. So if this thing still continues and we don't work on the justice system, we'll still have more people in remand almost every time, and it will populate the prison.
Sammy, we have about 3 minutes to wrap up this conversation. So let me just take us through a few of the key things, because for me, fire outbreak is key. because it's happening across the country. We've seen multiple fires in various markets. He spoke about retooling of the Ghana National Fire Service. He said he actually described it as one of the orphan agencies in
Under
the security
ministry,
services. Is it long overdue?
I agree. Long overdue. Long overdue. We have friends within the Ghana National Fire Service, and off camera they will tell you some of the challenges they face, and it's a grim picture. It's really a grim picture. And the last time I had a conversation with someone, he told me that across the country the fire tenders will not be up to 50, and we live in a country where there is high-rise building springing up almost every day. Does the fire service have those equipment to address fire challenges in high-rise buildings? That is another issue we also need to look at. When the California Los Angeles fire came up, which we saw on the news in the BBC and the CNN, even they, with those sophisticated equipment for fighting fire, they struggled. They were using chopper and the rest. Do we have chopper for Ghana National Fire Service? So I think it's about time Muntaka, if there's any agency that needs critical attention from his outfit, the Ghana Fire Service should be the topmost on his priority. Because recent fire outbreaks, the fire service people get there and they are unable to do what they are supposed to do. Sometimes they even get there with empty can, as a lot of the accusations have come up.
Just add this part to it, because he also mentioned about the assault on fire officers and how he actually appealed to the general public to stop that, because even in their lack, they are still trying as much as possible to douse all of these fires that we have seen in the country.
Ghanaians,
so wrap up on that.
Ghanaians believe that the fire service is unable to act when incident like this happen, but the fire service is challenged. The Ghanaian people don't know the fire service is challenged. They don't know the challenges, but unless there's education for people to know that the fire service is challenged, then they will understand. Who does this education? The fire service cannot be granting interview all the time. They must get somebody who will let people know that they are challenged. And if they are challenged, who is supposed to address their challenge? The government of the day. And so if the government of the day is not addressing their challenge, Ghanaians always vent their anger on the National Fire Service. We saw a video recently where the National Fire Service went to a fire, an incident, and they were in a taxi holding a fire extinguisher. Meanwhile, they called for a whole fire tunnel, and when they get to that challenge, the tunnel is broken down.
It's a serious problem. It's a serious problem. But you have confidence in the Honorable Muntaka Mubarak to deliver at the Ministry of the Interior.
I do.
Very well. Thank you so much. So that's my colleague Samir Riafe giving us his take on the vetting of the Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, who is heading to the Ministry of the Interior once he's approved by Parliament and sworn in by the President. This is where we'll end our coverage of the vetting of the Appointments Committee today. We'll return as and when they resume. My name is Ajwatin Kramadom, and many thanks for your company.